Welcome to the second part of chemical coordination and integration. We have understood about the different endocrine and exocrine gland, particularly the meaning of the endocrine and exocrine gland there. So we have learned about different endocrine gland, their function, their function, their disorders. Now we come to the second part, that is this heterocrine or mixocrine gland. Heterocrine or mixocrine gland are the glands in which both endocrine as well as exocrine part is there. These are the glands which have both endocrine and exocrine part there. So we have different heterocrine gland. First is the pancreas. Pancreas is located below the stomach, behind the duodenum, and uh, we know that there are the main part of the pancreas, about 97 to 99% of the pancreas have the exocrine part, and the exocrine part of the pancreas releases the digestive juices, digestive enzymes which digestive, know that only 1 to 3% area of the pancreas consists of islets of Langerhans. They are named so on the because of the name of the discoverer. Islets of the Langerhans. They are 1 to 3% of the pancreas consist of islets of the Langerhans. So islet of Langerhans have different type of cell. Alpha cells, about your 15, 10 to 15%, 10 to 15%, they are alpha cells. Beta cells, they are about 70 to 80%. 70 to 80%, they are beta cell. Then there are also gamma cells. Gamma cell about 5%, and also the delta cells are also there. Delta cells are also there. Delta cells are also there. They release delta alpha cell release glucagon, beta cell release insulin, gamma cell they are the cells which are the precursor of the alpha and beta, and the delta cell release somatostatin and somatotrophins. Uh, we have understood we in the previous video I told you about the antagonistic hormone which function against each other. I told you about RH and IH of the hypothalamus, then calcitonin of the thyroid and parathormone from the parathyroid gland. They were the two pairs, and third pair is this insulin and glucagon. Insulin and glucagon, they are also antagonistic hormones. Insulin is responsible for lowering the blood sugar level. Blood sugar, when we say blood sugar, it means glucose. So insulin low down the glucose level from the blood. Actually, when the sufficient amount of the glucose is there in the blood, then insulin will be released from the beta cell of the pancreas, and it will pick the glucose, convert it into glycogen, and then pour into the muscles and the liver. When less amount of the glucose is there in the bloodstream, then glucagon will be released, and this glucagon will function oppositely. It will pick up the glycogen from the liver cells and convert it into a broke down into the glucose unit, and then release that into the blood. That is why they are antagonistic to each other. The deficiency of the insulin, it is responsible. Deficiency of the insulin will be, if then deficiency of the insulin will be there, that will cause the higher amount of the blood glucose level, and this disorder is known as diabetes mellitus. So it is different from the diabetes insipidus, which we have studied in the previous part of the previous video. Somatotrophin, it function against both glucogen and insulin. Regarding insulin, you should also know that insulin was the first hormone that was crystallized, that was isolated. It was the first hormone that was isolated from the pancreas of the dog by Bunting and McLeod. Bunting and McLeod isolated insulin from the pancreas of the dog. It was the first hormone that was isolated. The additional information. So this is the structure of the pancreas, and also showing the location beneath the stomach. Gonads. Gonads, testis in male, present in the scrotum. They release testosterone or androgens, which are responsible for the development of the secondary sexual characteristics of the male. ovaries, they release three type of hormone: estrogen or estrogen. It is known as estrogen. O is silent there. It is responsible for the development of primary and secondary sexual characteristics of the female, and also responsible for, it is also responsible for that menstrual cycle, in the development of the menstrual cycle in the female. uh, then progesterone, it is released from the corpus luteum. Corpus luteum is that part of the ovum. When the Graafian follicle will mature and ovum is being released from the ovary, the remnant of the that uh, Graafian follicle is known as corpus luteum, and corpus luteum will release the progesterone. Progesterone is also known as anti-abortion hormone. Anti-abortion hormone. It is responsible for maintaining the thickness of the uterine wall. Relaxin. Relaxin is one hormone which is exclusively present in pregnant female only. Non-pregnant female will not have relaxin. Actually, the corpus luteum normally degenerate in the female which are not pregnant, and it will degenerate, and that is responsible for the menstruation. But in case of pregnant female, this corpus luteum is not degenerated, and the later part of the pregnancy, that corpus luteum will be converted into corpus albicans, and corpus albicans will release relaxin, which is responsible for dilating the innominate bone, which is dilating the innominate bone along with the cervix, and that will facilitate the parturition of the easy birth of the child. So now the hormones released from the heart, kidney, and GI tract. Uh, First is your atrial natriuretic factor (ANF). This is responsible for decreasing blood pressure. We have already learned that in the excretory part of human physiology, responsible for decreasing blood pressure as well as GFR. And from the kidney, one is erythropoietin is being released, which is responsible for the release for the formation of erythrocyte. One another hormone is there which is released from the kidney, that is renin. 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 Why I am focusing on the concentrating on the spelling of this one? Because Renin, that is also renin, but when it is with the double N, then it is not enzyme, not a hormone. It is enzyme released from the in the stomach. But when it is Re single Nin, then it is a hormone released from the kidney, and this is responsible for increasing the GFR by angiotensinogen of the liver. We have studied that also in the excretory part of human physiology. Now the different hormones there which are being released from the GI tract, gastrointestinal tract, they are gastrin, secretin, cholecytokinin, and gastrin-inhibitory peptide. Gastrin is responsible for the release of the gastric juices in the stomach. When the food will reach up to the stomach, then under the influence of the biggest nerve, the largest nerve, our digestive juices are being released from the stomach, and they are the hormone which is responsible for release of these HCl and digestive juices in the stomach. This is known as gastrin. Now secretin, this is very important. Secretin, there are certain additional information about secretin. You should understand secretin is the first hormone to be discovered. I told you that insulin was the first hormone that was isolated, but secretin was the first hormone that was discovered. It was discovered by Bayliss and Starling in 1903. 1903, Bayliss and Starling, they discovered secretin, and later on, in 1905, it was Starling who coined the term hormone. Secretin is responsible for the release of ecbolic secretion. This is very important. It is responsible for the release of ecbolic secretion from pancreas and liver. Actually, ecbolic secretion is that secretion which is released in response of the acidity of the chyme when it is entering into the small intestine, duodenum part of the small intestine. That ecbolic secretion, it is basically rich in water and bicarbonate ion, and the primary objective is just to neutralize the acidity and not the digestion. Later on, another hormone, cholecytokinin, is being released, and that also function on the pancreas and liver, but its excretion is responsible for release of that digestive juices from the pancreas and bile from the that gallbladder to liver. A gastrin inhibitory peptide, it is also released from the cells of the that small intestine when the food is being um, food is being pushed from the stomach to the small intestine. When it reaches there, then gastrin inhibitory peptide is released, and this is responsible for blocking the secretion of the hormone. Means it will stop the gastrin hormone to function. That is why so as to low down, so as to stop the secretion of the hydrochloric acid and and other enzymes uh, from the stomach. So these are the different type of hormones: peptide, or protein hormone. They are insulin, glucagon, pistrin. Most of the hormones, they are protein. Steroid hormone, they are the hormone from the cortex of the adrenal gland. They are cortisol, mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, sexocorticoid, and sex hormone. They are steroid. Iodinated hormone, they are the thyroid T3, T4, and amino acid derivatives. They are your epinephrine as well as norepinephrine, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Mechanism of hormone action, this is also very important. Mechanism of hormone action basically depend upon the function of the, basically depend upon the type of the hormone. This one actually when we know the structure of the cell membrane. Cell membrane is basically made up of lipids. Cell membrane is basically made up of lipids. So lipids, they will easily allow the passage of the, or passing of the, all the hormones which are steroid in nature, because steroids, they are also lipids. But other hormone, particularly the proteinous hormone, they are not easily welcomed into the cells. So based on that, we have two type of functioning, type of mechanism of hormone action. Some hormone, like the steroid hormone, they got the privilege to directly pass into the cell membrane and do their function, whatever the function is assigned to them. Whereas other hormones, particularly the proteinous hormone, they are not that lucky to pass into the cell membrane. So they will attach to the receptor present on the cell membrane itself, and that cell membrane, in response to that particular hormone, will release secondary messenger from there, and that secondary messenger will do the function in the cell. So this is how it works, like that. So this diagram will make us. One is that particularly that FSH hormone. FSH means follicle stimulating hormone. It is a proteinous hormone. It is not able. It is not able to pass into the. It has. It is not able to pass into the cell membrane itself. So it will come to the cell membrane. It will attach itself to the receptor present on the surface of the cell membrane, and in response to that, they will release secondary messenger in the form of cyclic adenosine monophosphate or calcium ion, and they will cause the biological response, or the then which will responsible for the other physiological response. Means main thing is that they are not able to pass into the cell membrane. They are not able to pass into the cell membrane. They will send their message to the that secondary messenger. This is the first type of hormone, particularly the proteinous hormone. In the second case, for example, this estrogen is there. Estrogen, we know that it is a steroid hormone, so it can easily pass into the cell membrane, and it will directly pass into the cell membrane and do whatever physiological function they are into it. It will easily do that. Before assignment, you should also understand the regulation. Regulation, regulation. It may be positive or negative. Should understand that. Positive regulation of hormone secretion is when the hormone, the function of the hormone itself trigger more release of the that hormone. You will understand with the example. Whereas in case of negative feedback mechanism, the whatever function is assigned to the hormone, it will perform its function, and when that function is being done, it will cause the stopping of the secretion of the that particular hormone. So first of all, we will try to understand the negative part of the feedback mechanism. The negative feedback of mechanism is well explained with the TSH. For example, we know that TSH of anterior pituitary, it is responsible for release of T3 and T4. So when T3 TSH is being released, TSH from the anterior pituitary will be released. It will cause the secretion of T3 and T4. They will perform their function, and when they will perform their function, then because of those function, negative message is being sent to the anterior pituitary. That will cause the stopping of the secretion of TSH. So it will stop the secretion of TSH, and when it will stop, their excretion will automatically stop. Mean function is responsible for stopping the excretion. This is negative feedback. Whereas in case of positive feedback, here best example is oxytocin of the posterior pituitary. Oxytocin is released from the anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, and it will function on the uterus of the pregnant female. Because of the oxytocin, uterine contraction will start. Uterine contraction will start in the pregnant female, and because of those uterine contraction, more oxytocin will be released. More oxytocin means more uterine contraction, and then more uterine contraction, it will further more oxytocin, mean it will send a positive feedback mechanism, and that is how it will goes on increasing the uterine contraction, or which are known as labor pains, and that will cause the parturition, that will cause the birth of the child. So this is the mode of the regulation of the hormones. So this is now next is the assignment, different assignments of 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks. So obviously, if you have understand the entire topic well, then these are no problem to anyone. Everyone can easily answer all these questions. Thank you. I hope you have understood the topic. Thank you very much.